Delaware County Sheriff says it'll take time for investigators to find a motive for the massacre. 3 U.S. service members were killed and 3 others were wounded when their military convoy was hit by a massive roadside bomb in central Afghanistan. A judge in San Diego County granted an injunction today preventing a nonprofit group from operating a needle exchange program in Orange County. The group operated that program in Santa Ana from 2016 through early this year and hoped to expand it to Anaheim, Costa Mesa, and Orange. But OC officials filed a lawsuit to block the program, claiming it left many discarded syringes in Santa Ana, and they feared a bigger health problem if it expanded to other cities. And the judge sided with Orange County, saying the nonprofit group lacked enough volunteers to pick up the used syringes. And Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith has been declared the winner over Democrat Mike Espy in Mississippi's Senate runoff election. And that gives the GOP a 53-47 majority in the U.S. Senate. KABC News Time is 11:02 with dependable traffic when you need it the most.
Overall, freeway speeds are pretty good in the Southland, but we've got a SIG alert in Sylmar ongoing, trying to clean up a load of sheet metal that was spilled. That's the 210 westbound connector to the 5 South that's closed. The 5 South affected. It's backed up to Roxford Street and stay slow to Brand. And in Anaheim, had a report of a couch on the freeway, the 5 South at Lincoln. It was in the middle lane, so be careful there. And in the City of Commerce on the 710 southbound at Washington Boulevard, we've got an overturned tractor trailer. Actually, just a wreck with a tractor trailer. It is on the right shoulder, but it's going to slow you down from the 5. And in the Mid-City, 10 westbound at National and Overland, 2-car wreck is on the right shoulder. And otherwise, freeways are in pretty good shape. We've got some work zones springing up in Gorman, the 5 southbound from Gorman School Road to Smoky Bear Road. 3 left lanes are closed. It's going to back you up from Fort Tejon Road. Sylmar, the 5 south of the 405, carpool and 2 left lanes are closed. You're slow to San Fernando Mission. KABC has dependable traffic when you need it most. I'm Cindy Berkey, Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Behind the Mic, furnished by Dalius Media.
This is Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Welcome on inside. Behind the Mic is live here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Jackson coming to you on this Tuesday night, November the 27th, 2018. Call in, as always, at 1-800-222-5222. We want to hear from you at 1-800-222-5222. Follow us across social media, BTM with Brad on Instagram. Our link in the bio there for our live online stream. Currently streaming live video-wise on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. Another great show on tap for you this evening. Lakers fall on the road to the Nuggets, 117-85. Lakers at the moment have a lot of problems. They have a lot of needs, but who's maybe a guy who could help to cure some of the ailments of the purple and gold? We'll get into that in just a little bit. Also, college football playoff rankings released, and they were important tonight because potentially the committee might have tipped their hand as far as what they're going to do come the final selection for all the bowl games and the 4 playoff teams come this Sunday. So interesting stuff to get into on that one. Reuben Foster was claimed by the Washington Redskins. Of course, the domestic violence against him has been well documented. And at this point, I'm just amazed that he's still playing in the National Football League. Thoughts on that one to come as well. And we really didn't get into it last night, but how does everyone stack up right now as far as the playoff race goes in the NFL, seeding-wise in both the AFC and in the NFC? There's some fascinating storylines within both those conferences. We'll get into that later on. But at the top, though, we definitely start with the Lakers. And, I mean, 117-85, I get it. Denver's a better improved team. But for the Lakers to look horrible as they did tonight, LeBron would just, an off night, to say the least, not getting much done at all. Right now, this team, it's like it went from, okay, there's some problems that are minor, at least they appear to be, and we can tweak things, we can fix it. But it's almost gotten progressively worse over the first month of the season, first 3-4 weeks. And at this point, it's like there's so many problems, where do you even start?
Yeah, well, you got a point there. But, you know, when you look at this, it's frustrating when I watch this team. And you know what? I go back to, I heard Charles Barkley say something about maybe a month ago or two, and he had said it was with Kenny and Ernie and all them on TNT.
Yeah.
And he had said with the LeBron James, he said my worry is with LeBron James, and I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said. I'm not quoting, but he said with LeBron James coming over to the Lakers, I'm still kind of worried about the fact that he's not going to be able to every night go for 40 every night to get this team over the hump. It's just not going to be physically impossible in the West. It's not. And he has a point. You know, you look at today, 5 for 15 from the field, 14 points. And it's not set on him, man. Again, this team is so built around him, and they put the ball in his hands, and they expect him to create and go for 40 or something every night. There's no offensive run here. You know, you had Kuzma, he had 21 points, which was great for him, and Ingram had 14, but the rest of the team didn't do anything. And again, these are talented guys, but that's not going to get it done in the West. You know, you're going to have to run an offense, which is what they're not doing, number one. And number two, what really trips me out is, like, I listened to Derek Fisher say something today after a post-game interview, and he had said that, that's part of the league. You know, you come off Thanksgiving and this and that, and it feels like almost like everybody, some people are making an excuse.
I was gonna say, like, what's up with all these excuses?
Stop the excuse, man. These guys are professional athletes. They've been here before. Night in, night out. They signed up for this. They
it's
pay
the
all this
first
money.
month of the season.
Exactly.
We're fatigued already.
And we're talking about a mile high because you're you're playing in Denver and this and that.
Get out of here.
I'm like, no. Let me tell you something, man.
Come on.
I play in Northern Arizona. We play at Northern Arizona up there, and it's crazy. No, give me a break with that mile high crap. The bottom line is, you come down here to play basketball. You got to get done. They play like crap. Okay, let's just call it what it is. That third quarter was a debacle.
No way
and
around it.
Blew them out from the start to finish. No one was closing out on defense. No movement on offense. The ball stood still. They couldn't get anything going from the jump. And they're relying on LeBron James to pull a miracle out his butt every single time, and it doesn't happen. And all you hear was Luke and all of them say, well, it's just one of those days, and it's gonna come, and we'll have better days. But let me tell you, no, we're not gonna have better days. It will get better. I hate when they say this.
He may have no days pretty soon.
I hate, Brad. I really do hate when the Lakers and just players say in the middle, like, we're going through adversity right now. Enough of this crap, man. Just get it done.
Well, what's the adversity on
what
right
adversity
now?
Getting? You know what the adversity is? You're not running an offense. That's the adversity. And then you're not going to do anything. Any team can beat you. I don't care how talented you are. Any team can beat you if you're not running a system.
Of course,
this is
we've talked about
professional
it.
basketball.
Absolutely.
So and you're relying. And I feel bad for LeBron. I really do. I feel bad for him because you're putting everything.
Feel that bad.
You know why I'm feeling bad? I'm feeling bad for this approach. Everything's on his shoulders right now. And look, I'm not the huge – I want to say right now, I respect LeBron James' game. I respect it cold-heartedly. He's got a nice game. He's one of the best that ever played. I get that. But the bottom line is he's only one man. And this game, it's 5 on the court on each team. And one man can't beat 5. I'm sorry.
Well, we talked about
it's
at the end of
impossible.
the end of last season, last couple seasons in Cleveland, we knew with how much he had been playing, essentially taking no plays off, getting through the Eastern Conference, getting back to the finals. Last year, I mean, the lone man to take that Cavs team to the finals. We know that. At some point, it was going to start to catch up a bit. And I don't know if we're exactly seeing that at the moment, but there's a whole lot of wear and tear there.
There's
a whole lot of wear and tear.
It sure feels. And you know what? In the expression on his face, Brad, this is what I was going to tell you. He was frustrated. It's not just the team, but you can see it in LeBron James' face. When he sat down, he kind of put his head down. He wiped his face. He looked like it was more postseason. We're not even in postseason yet. We're not even mid-season.
It's not even December, Keith.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the beginning of the season, and you see frustration. Luke Walton needs to do something, and it needs to be done quickly. And I think what he's going to have to start with first is he's got to add some more experience to his staff, because I think that's one thing in general. I think all those guys on the team, when you got highly respected guys like, in the league, or you got LeBron James, who's won a championship, Tyson Chandler, who's won a championship, Lance Stevens, who's been to Eastern Conference Finals, and go down the list of Rajon Rondo, who's won championships.
Yeah.
They had high respected coaches. They competed against Luke. And Luke really is riding there. Luke Walton, let's think about it. What has Luke Walton really done in the NBA? He's just riding the wave of a Golden State team with Steve Kerr.
When he was 29-0 temporarily when Kerr was out.
That's it.
With the Golden State
Who's
I'm really
on the
tired
staff?
of hearing that. I'm
Who's
really
on the
tired
staff,
of hearing
Brad? Who's on his staff? Miles Simons? Who else?
Right now?
That's it. Miles Simons, Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw's respected. He's a little respected, but he's not
that's
quite.
About it.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's the big problem is they need someone who has more experience.
Yeah.
I think that's
and that's
the
what I'm
biggest
getting
thing.
at. That's what I'm getting at. Not taking other ways from the guys that they don't know basketball. Please believe they know basketball. But they need some more. They need somebody in there that is really respected around the leagues where people are going to tone in. Look at how DeMar DeRozan's playing over there with the Spurs and Greg Popovich. I mean, wow.
It's coaching.
Coaching has nothing to do with playing. You know why you got teams like Denver doing well? Do they have any superstars that really put fans in the stands? No, it's coaching. They got a great coach, and they run a system. What the Lakers are not doing.
They're not there yet. Clearly, they're not there. And it's alarming because we knew coming into the season how many teams there are, how loaded and stacked the Western Conference is. We thought that with just LeBron alone, he would be able to take this team to the 3rd, 4th seed at this point. And again, I don't want to get too carried away because it is mad early.
Yes.
Mad early.
Absolutely. It's
at the moment, I think Magic Johnson and Pelinka and the whole front office, they're taking inventory clearly here.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I think they're going to give Luke at least maybe into halfway through the season.
I think they will.
A little bit. To be realistic, I think they probably will, unless the wheels really start to fall off. But I think they'll give him to half the season and really to see. I mean, look, last year we saw what Cleveland did, basically an overhaul at the roster during the trade deadline, and so there's an opportunity for that to happen if need be. So they're evaluating everything, but it is just very alarming right now to see the trajectory of the team going down and no real answers in sight.
Yeah. And you look at it, see, what does the Lakers need? What do they need right now? What is one thing that you think they need on this team? Well, we know shooting is one. We know that's one thing, and we somebody has expressed that over social media.
There's a couple players, but there's one in specific that potentially could be a good fit for this Lakers team, and I think we have an idea who that may be.
Kiana, get off my chat, dang. Hell, everything I do, I can't live. Give me some time to myself. Hey, I'm tired of being here. Please, somebody pick me up. I work at Ralph's and McDonald's, anywhere to get out this damn house. Anywhere, come on, please. Job applications, I'm taking all job applications. Kiana, get off my chat.
So this is Nick Young.
Yes.
Swaggy P himself.
Yes.
And
he
could play a little bit.
He could play a little bit,
His
man.
team could use him.
He's a character. Everybody loves him. But no, on a serious note, I mean, it was funny. I was watching. We just cut. We did cut up that we just cut that up as just a little bit. That's a little clip of it. But when it goes down, he was watching the Laker game.
Yeah, he just put this out on Instagram.
Yeah, he puts all on Instagram Live. He was watching the Laker game, and his young kids were. Nick was coming around, messing around with him, and he's great with his kids. But long story short, he had said he was like, man, someone please pick me up, give me a job. You see his girl at the time, and she posts something like a little scroll. She said, yeah, somebody pick him up or something like that. But again, we could use a shooter. And for a league minimum.
Absolutely.
Why not bring someone like that back? I mean, he is staying in shape, and so he's out there. Does he play the best of defense? Well, we know Swag don't play no defense.
Yeah, a little suspect there.
There's one thing he can't do is shoot the rock, and he's consistent at doing that. And what the Lakers do lack is they lack shooters. That's one thing. But this right here also, man, this was all defense and effort. this team right now, what was
Lacking.
going on, and that's what they're lacking. So, he is available. I get it. Hopefully he finds a team, but man, I know Laker fans would love to have him back, and he's a hometown LA person. He's from LA, so
Give him a shot.
Yeah.
1-800-222-5222. A quick break, and we're back after this.
Soap opera of relationships, rules, and labor violations. Hear about it Sunday evenings from 7 to 9 on Carl Gerber, Workplace Lawyer, right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Hi, this is Peter Tilden, and I got to tell you, I've been promoting Natron's Healthy Trinity probiotics on the radio for over a decade. They changed my life, my wife's life, many of our listeners' lives. They feel better, and you could too. Listen to what Dr. Chris Diadamo, the Director of Research at the Center for Integrative Medicine at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, has to say.
If you experience gas, bloating, indigestion, loose stool, or constipation, this is not something that you just have to deal with. But I was actually introduced to Natron probiotics for my own personal use. I had been suffering from persistent indigestion, and nothing I had tried had really helped me until I tried Natron probiotics. Natron probiotics provide sustained relief and greatly improved my quality of life to this day, just as they have for countless people across the world. I'm a real believer in the power of Natron probiotics, and as a result, I recommend them to literally everybody. If your probiotic doesn't say Natron on the label, you'll never feel the Natron difference.
Others promise, Natron delivers, except no substitute. Go to natron.com or the probiotic cooler section at Whole Foods, Sprouts, or your favorite health food store.
The Sid Levine Show, fame and fortune in Hollywood. Sid Levine, owner of the Levine Agency for 31 years, shares his wealth of knowledge for all to hear. A must listen if you're trying to make it in Hollywood. Tune in every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Your windows leak like an old boat. Your furnace sounds like it's alive when it kicks on. And why does your basement still smell? Well, I can help you figure all that out. Just listen to House Smarts Radio with me, Lou Manfredini. It all starts at 8 a.m. Saturday mornings on 790 KABC.
Join me on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. for The Deciders. I'm Renee Frazier. I'm the host of The Deciders. I run an advertising and marketing firm. The show features CEOs and leaders who share their stories and offer practical insights into their successes. The Deciders, 5:30 on Saturdays.
Here's a gift you can open early. Up to 40% off appliance special buys, plus up to $500 in instant savings now at the Home Depot. Like a Whirlpool stainless steel top freezer refrigerator, just $528. As far as your other gifts, no peeking. This is how to still get Black Friday savings on appliances. Now at the Home Depot. More saving. More doing. U.S. only. While supplies last. Instant savings require a minimum purchase of 2 select appliances to qualify. See store for details. Valid through November 29th.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Welcome back Behind the Mic, live here on KABC Radio. Brad and Keith, we talked a little Lakers there before the break and said, you know what, they could use a guy like Swaggy P.
Yeah.
He could help. Like you said, he's a shooter. Could do a little good things for them right now.
But
they could use all the help they can get.
Can I tell you, there's another guy that I think they could use too.
Yeah, who else?
Darrell Wright.
Okay.
He's playing overseas right now, but his brother is DeLeon Wright, who's been on our show before.
Yeah, we interviewed him last season.
Plays for the Raptors right now. But Darrell Wright, I think he's a guy that you can use. He's a forward that can shoot and spread the floor out, plays defense.
Yeah.
And he's available too overseas right now. But I think there's many guys that you should give a shot to. But the Lakers really don't need much. I think really what it comes down to, it doesn't matter who they bring on the team. You had today where it was interesting to me, Brad, was really frustrating. Why are we not playing Michael Beasley?
We've been talking about this since like opening night, just about, right? It's hard to believe.
I don't understand why Michael Beasley's not played. And then you brought him out there. He does a great job. And then you pull him out with LeBron James when they got something going. And I was like, and that really, because I was like, okay, they're rolling right now. They got something going. Then he yanks LeBron, and the two guys that were scoring with that group, I mean, it was LeBron Beasley. It was LeBron Beasley in there. And I think JaVale was there.
Yeah.
And I think it was who else was there? Kuzma. Kuz was there. And then, that was the five. It was Kuz, LeBron, Beasley, JaVale, and I want to say, and Josh Hart. Those are the guys that were in there. And they were rolling. That was a good group. Beasley and LeBron were making most of the shots there. And then he yanks them out, put it out Caldwell Pope and Lance Stevenson. And I'm like, why are you yanking Beasley and them after they just got something rolling right now? You let that roll until that run stops.
Has he even played more than 10 minutes in any game this year?
And no. I don't understand how you don't let someone like that play when he was the leading scorer for New York last year when Kristaps Porzingis was out. And
it's mind-boggling.
That to me it is. And he's one-on-one. You can't play that guy one-on-one. You need to bring some type of help when you play one-on-one with him. So I never understood that, and I think where it really comes down to is knowing your personnel. And I just think that's where Luke lacks right now, is knowing his personnel and what groups to get in. Like, you don't put Lonzo and Rondo in at the same time. I'm sorry, that doesn't work.
Not even close.
I don't see why he does that. So, but Lonzo got hurt tonight, and so he got an ankle sprain, whatever. And I saw it in his heart. He tries to. I'm trying to play and and do whatever he can, but then they decided to pull him out, which was a smart thing to do. But if somebody's not giving you as much production as they should, then you got to go with someone else. And so we'll see. Josh Hart has an opportunity to show what he can do, and he's already, to me, done that. He just can't be sitting getting less minutes all the time.
1-800-222-5222. Let's switch gears and talk a little college football,
Yes, sir.
Keith. Rankings come out tonight, and it was a big night, obviously, because, like I said, the committee somewhat tipped their hand, if you want to look at it from that perspective, to what, obviously, this weekend's conference championship games mean for some of these teams and how it's obviously all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the teams obviously right now on the outside looking in, that being Oklahoma and Ohio State 5 and 6 respectively. I think this is about right, to be honest. I like what they did here, having Oklahoma first, because obviously they both have won losses. To me, the Ohio State loss to Purdue earlier this season, way worse than Oklahoma's one blemish on the year. To Texas, which is they lost by a field goal to Texas. Obviously, Ohio State's got blown out by Purdue. To me, that's the difference right now.
Right now, I'll be honest with you. I look at this. The AP polls did everything correct, but the college football rankings did. But the AP poll did a better job. And why? Because they had Alabama number 1, they got Clemson number 2, Notre Dame number 3, Georgia number 4, Oklahoma number 5, which I agree, Ohio State number 6, and the good old UCF number 7, who is 11-0, who, again, as we all feel, we've said it many a times, that they should be, it's not right what's going on with them, and I just feel it's not. What's going I don't think that the college football rankings should put Michigan in front of UCF.
They should be over Michigan.
They should be, UCFS should be over them. And so, but it is, I like the top 4. Oklahoma has an opportunity. Ohio State, again, we had count them out, and they're right back in it with the play they have. So I don't know. I doubt it that those guys will get in. It's interesting, that Georgia-Alabama matchup. But really, okay, what really sucks is this. If Georgia loses, which they may, pretty much.
This is the question, right?
Do they still stay in the top 4? Or do they drop, and does Oklahoma move up in there? And I can see that happening. I can see Georgia losing and Georgia getting counted out. Now, on the flip side, if Georgia beats Alabama, is Alabama going to be knocked down to 5? Absolutely not. It's not going to happen.
That's why the Georgia folks say, look, to be fair here, if you're going to play it that way, if we lose, we shouldn't drop to 5 either.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's not going to happen.
Well, I think it depends on what kind of game it is. Look, if Georgia plays a game and they lose like a classic by a field goal, I think they're in. I think they're in.
They still won't.
Now, see, here's the caveat, though. It gives them 2 losses.
Exactly. And with 2 losses, does a team in the playoff get 2 losses?
We've
no.
never had one with 2 losses.
Again, and what I'm going off of is why is UCFF not getting in there? They're an undefeated team. If they get undefeated, forget the strength of schedule. I get that. The reason why they're not getting it because they don't. But this team can obviously play some football if you put them in the top 10. They're obviously got some type of talent there. Why not give these teams like the UCFS of the world a shot? If they're 11-0, it just looks to me more appealing, and it looks good to me. When I look at a ranking, to me, I would be more intrigued.
The 4 undefeated teams.
4 undefeated teams. I would be more intrigued in watching that than a team with a loss with these big programs with 2 losses. Or we know we've seen them getting blown out before. This team is undefeated, Brad.
24 in a row. I get it. The starting quarterback is injured with that leg injury, but 24 in a row. Look, they've gotten more recognition this year. ESPN Game Day's gone down there. They've been in national primetime television. They've beaten a ranked team in Cincinnati. All that put together, 24 straight wins. They deserve to be up there. I'm not a fan of multiple conferences, or multiple teams, rather, from the same conference going into the playoffs like we saw last year.
Yeah.
I just don't like that. I think the further we go down that route of having 2 SEC teams or whether it be 2 ACC teams, the further you get away from the Power 5, and we're having the discussion right now is saying, how can we get all the Power 5s into the playoffs? We're not even focusing on the mid-major schools, conference winners. Yeah. And that's a problem. And obviously you can go undefeated like UCF here back-to-back years and you still don't even get in. I agree with you this on that. 100%. They should absolutely be given a shot. We should have 4 undefeated teams. Yeah. There's only 4 undefeated teams right now in America. Those 4 should go to the playoffs. That's how I look at it. Again, and that's the thing. If Georgia does get in, man, you talk about a new precedent. But it wouldn't surprise me because the one thing the committee has said, although they've never put in a 2-loss team, they have said that the number one metric for them is the eye test, the 4 best teams, which that is so flawed.
Yeah,
and the thinking it is so flawed.
It is so flawed because who are the 4 best teams then? Who are the 4 best teams? If you guys are going to say that,
well, if you look at it that way, the best team I saw last weekend was Ohio State.
Yeah,
right.
The best team playing last week was Ohio State for sure. But again, they got a loss on their record, and and when I look down at this college football ranking, all I look at is 12-0, 12-0, 12-0, 11-1, 11-1, 11-1, 10-2, 11-0. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why is this 11-0 at number 8? And all these, and you got a 10-2 record, Michigan, 11-1 Ohio State, who played well, I might add, like we both said, 11-1 Oklahoma, and 11-1 you got 11-1 Georgia. Why? Because they're in these big conferences, whatever. But you still got a team that's historically 24-0 from the last 2 years, and they're still not getting the respect they was due. They should be up at the top. They should be They should be in the top 5, Brad. They
Last
should be in the top 5.
year when they raised the banner, they did the championship rings. I still am not a fan of that, but it did one thing, and it got everyone's attention.
Yes.
And like I said, they have taken them more seriously this year. What do they have to do to continue to climb? What are they supposed to go undefeated again next year and win 30-some straight games?
Exactly. What do they have to do? And
crazy.
And no team in the top, ranked ahead of them, Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Alabama, they will not take a game against them. That's another thing. Is why? Because it's more for them to lose than for UCF. They will not take a game against them. And that's what's messed up. That's why a playoff of 8 teams, like we had said before, should be something that's in the picture because no team, a UCF team, this team is a dangerous team, and they know, these other big programs know, well, why are we going to take that? Their whole thing is, I'm not going to benefit from it. Well, you know what? Maybe you will, because this team is 24-0. So that's an argument there. But no team's going to take a mid-major team and play them if they're in the top 10. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
It's Behind the Mic live here on KBC Radio.
KABC News, live and local at 11:31. I'm Jeff Whittle, and a person is being detained about the stabbing death of a man on a Metro Gold Line train that was en route from Irwindale to Duarte around 11:30 this morning. Here's Charles Calderaro of the LA County Sheriff's Department, which patrols Metro's trains.
Several passengers pointed out the front train car and indicated another individual that possibly was involved in the assault. The victim had wounds to his upper torso.
But no other information about the victim or possible suspect have been released. And authorities in Orange and Riverside counties issued voluntary evacuation warnings today for residents who live in the 23,000-acre Holy Fire Burn area, which includes Trabuco Creek, Rose Canyon, Mystics Oaks, and the El Carrizo areas of the OC. That's because the thunderstorms expected on Thursday could trigger mud or debris flows. 790 KABC News Time is 11:32 with dependable traffic when you need it the most.
Dashing through the snow, to CVS we go. A $10 cash card for beauty brands and bows. Lights to dress the tree, and stocking gifts galore. Candy cards and photo gifts and deals throughout the store. At CVS Pharmacy, we've got all the little things you need this holiday. Like a $10 CVS cash card, yours when you spend $30 on select items like Hallmark cards, going on this week. Plus, M&Ms are 2 for $6. Dash to CVS Pharmacy today. Restrictions apply. See cvs.com/weekly ad for details.
Indeed knows finding the right hire takes time away from your business.
Hiring a qualified data engineer felt like a second job.
More job seekers use Indeed than any other site, so there's no better place to find someone with the skills you're looking for.
I needed someone with a master's in computer science and database experience.
Plus, Indeed screener questions help you find your shortlist fast.
Now I'm back to having just one job.
See why more than 3 million companies worldwide use Indeed to hire. Post your job at Indeed.com/hire. Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Source.com score total visits.
Every once in a while, bam! Something happens and you need money fast. Well, LoanMe can loan you from $2,600 to $100,000, and the money can be in your bank account in hours. That's right. And since our loans are unsecured, we don't need your car title or any other collateral, just your signature, because we trust you, even if you have less than perfect credit. Sure, the money's a little expensive, but it's a lot cheaper than a payday loan, and you make just one fixed payment every month. And to keep interest expense down, use the money to get out of the jam you're in and then pay it back at any time with no penalties or fees. So take 5 minutes and call 844-3-LOAN-ME or log on to loanme.com for the money you need. That's 844-3-LOAN-ME or loanme.com.
Not all applicants will qualify. Loan approval and terms subject to credit standards. See loanme.com for details. Loans made pursuant to California Department of Business Oversight Finance Lender License 603K061.
That's 844-3-LOAN-ME or loanme.com.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about how UCF has just been slighted here by the committee last season into this season. I was looking up, Keith, their 2019 schedule for next season as far as non-conference games, and they do have Stanford on the schedule beginning of the season, also at Pitt, who, although they started horribly this year, they've actually rebounded quite nicely and will take on Clemson in the ACC championship game this weekend. They get some, tougher, more so Power 5 opponents on the schedule next year. They get Cincinnati again, Temple as well. That's obviously in conference play.
Yeah.
But outside of that, that's pretty much it. I know you more so want to see an SEC Big Ten team.
Yeah, but SEC, Big Ten. But you know what? It's interesting. The SEC and Big Ten, their conference, they're very selective in who they're going to bring in there. You know how hard it was for USC to play Alabama? Do you know how hard and how long it took for that to happen? I mean,
and are they coming back on the schedule at some point down the line?
Shoot, I would want it now. I wouldn't want it now, but
not that anyone's looking for it at the moment.
But when USC was really good at the time, with Reggie Bush and all those guys, and And then you start, even when they had Matt Barkley and all those guys, and they still had some players, rest in peace, Joe McKnight, who was there at one point in time when they had those guys. Alabama didn't want no parts. We were calling for SEC teams, and no one wanted any parts of that. And they stayed away from that. And that's what I'm saying. Big Ten schools and stuff. Well, we run up against the Big Ten schools usually in the Rose Bowl or anything like that. At that time, that's not anymore. Rose Bowls doesn't even happen anymore. But like the Ohio States of the world and things like that, Michigans. But in the regular season, you typically don't see like a Pac-12 team or the low mid-major schools. Like they're very go against an SEC team or anything like that. Why? Because they're very selective on who they want and who they want to play against. And so with that matter and said, like I just can't see it happening, man. I mean, even with UCF's schedule, if they go ahead and run the table next year, beat Stanford and beat Pitt.
I think it all depends on where they're ranked to start the season.
Exactly. But where are you going to put them, man?
Top 10.
They should be in the top 10.
Easily.
They should be in the top 10. But again, it's just look at how they had to climb
They
up.
should actually.
This stuff was like strategically done because I believe, Brad, they weren't even the top 10 this past year when they started out.
They weren't.
And then they gradually, all of a sudden, we start moving them up. They moved them up towards the end of the season.
Yep. Where
now they're still they're at number 8. They're totally out of reach of making the playoffs.
Of course they are. I think though at the end of the season, again, where do they finish at the end of the season? They have a chance to finish close to 5.
Yeah.
Very close to 5. They really should start next season in the top 10 at least.
Mm-hmm.
At least. Otherwise, slap in the face. By the way, USC will take on Alabama. They'll renew that matchup in 2020 to start the season.
Good God. Again, I'll say that if that's happened, they renew that matchup. I mean, USC, as we all know, and as everybody in the whole entire world knows, that they got a lot of holes to fill, and that's including the coaching staff, in order to be at a caliber of an Alabama type of team, or it's going to be the same outcome as it was what it was. Was it 2 years ago or a year ago?
Yeah,
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So
that will be a neutral site game again in Arlington in 2020.
Yeah, and you know what? If they don't get better, then that game will be no more.
Yeah,
because it's just not a draw. It's not appealing to watch. That should be, honestly, typically a college game day type of game.
Yeah, of course.
Where everybody's going to be there and want to cover, but it's just not right now.
Long way to go, that's for sure.
Yes.
Again, the UCF storyline continues to fascinate everyone involved with it. And again, everyone feels bad for the quarterback who went down. And we know that that's going to be held against them, whether that's fair or not at this point.
But I want to know this. I mean, it is really intriguing to me. If Alabama falls to Georgia, in your opinion, should they drop out the top 4?
I think it just depends on what kind of game we're looking at.
Even if they lose, if they lose by a field goal, should they drop out the top 4?
No, but see, I would say the same for Georgia. I don't think they would deserve to drop out either, even though it would be their second loss.
I don't know, man. I feel, to me, it's somehow, like in some way, I just feel that if Alabama loses, they should drop out the top 4.
Right. See,
because
remember
I go by records then. I know we're going by the name and the fact that they're a powerhouse team and they got great players and people want to see them get knocked off, and it's just a great appealing story and a look to what's going on. They're going to probably have one of the biggest draws out of college football because they'll probably make a lot more money than other schools or other teams. But on my thing, to be fair, I feel like if Georgia knocks them out, it's just not it's just not right, because the way I look at this is this: they're playing them in an SEC championship game.
Yep.
And so in a championship game, that still counts as if they lose, that they're going to totally drop out as them getting into the playoffs, right? So I just think that it's not right for Alabama. They're going to play Georgia in the playoffs, and then possibly if they lose to Georgia, that they're only going to drop 2 slots. If that happens, realistically, they'll put them at number 3, and they'll just move Clemson and Notre Dame up, but again, and they'll just swap and put Georgia they'll put probably Georgia, or they'll put them at 4 and put Georgia at 3.
Yeah.
That's all they would do.
That's all they would do because it would be one loss. And even if they would get blown out, hypothetically, Alabama gets blown out by Georgia, that still wouldn't be enough to drop them out, in my opinion. They're in, win or lose.
Yeah,
they're in. That's the thing, and it's now. Now Clemson, if Clemson loses to Pittsburgh, Clemson doesn't get in.
No, they don't get in.
They don't get in my opinion. Now, my biggest thing, going back to this whole 2-loss thing, if Georgia were to lose, I just think that they should still get in. If it's a close game, again, classic matchup with Alabama, Georgia falls just short by a field goal. I still think Georgia deserves to get in because of they would have played what a lot of people are considering one of the greatest college football teams ever assembled in this year's 2018 version of the Tide. Because of that, I think that's more impressive than what an Oklahoma or Ohio State would bring to the table, even if both those teams, Oklahoma and Ohio State, win their conferences, because the committee has said that conference championships are not the end-all, be-all.
Yeah.
We don't put a whole lot of stock in that. So, and they've never really come out and said that they don't take 2-loss teams. That's just been the unofficial view of it these last couple of years. So you factor all that together, I think unless Alabama just rolls past Georgia, I really think that I think there's going to be a lot of upset people in Norman, Oklahoma, and of course in Columbus, Ohio too.
Yeah.
Because I think both are going to get left out. I think we're going to see once again two SEC teams in.
SEC teams, that what they want.
Yep.
And what they'll probably
and
get.
the only thing that's different is Notre Dame this year. That's it. That's the only compelling thing.
Yeah. That I think could beat Alabama. I still say that. I still say
I don't
Brad
see it.
doesn't see it.
I think we're watching different games sometimes because I don't see it.
I know you're saying that, but I think they could if they had their other quarterback playing. I mean, if he's in the scheme, then I think they can definitely do something.
And why again? Because of his ability to scramble?
Well, yes, he's more of an athletic. He's a speed guy. He makes a lot of plays. To me, you can't play Alabama sitting in the pocket and throwing the ball. That's just not going to happen. Why? They're too big. They can athletic and can jump. You got to roll out the pocket. You got to have speed. You got to make plays. And what Notre Dame does well is they're quick and fast. They can block. They have some guys up front that can block, but they're very quick and fast on the edges. And I just think that they are faster than Alabama, or just as fast. And you got to have quarterbacks that are going to make you miss.
Yep.
You know, you want to have a quarterback
that's
that's
going
to make you miss.
Out there like that.
And Deshaun Watson is a prime example. And he wasn't a pocket passer when they played them before, but that's what the type of quarterback you need. And you need the guy who's going to be moving around.
Nick Saban has lost one championship game in his career, and that was to Deshaun Watson.
Yes, exactly.
And Clemson.
And that's what Notre Dame reminds me of, is that type of play. Like they need a quarterback who's going to make more rushing yards than passing yards. Not the other way around. It's just not going to work.
Yeah, I just don't think they have that in Winbush or Book. And I don't think there's really anybody right now, like I said, maybe except Dwayne Haskins at Ohio State, that could bring that type of element to the quarterback position that could really threaten Alabama here. I just don't think so. I just don't think, again, I think, like we talked about last time, I think the emphasis needs to be on defense when you're playing Alabama, approaching them that way, because you have to hold them under 30 to have any type of realistic shot. And I think that's probably even impossible this year. I really do. I don't know how you hold them to 30 points or less. I don't think so. I think this team is, they've scored about 40 points. I think 39 was their high on this year in every game, at least. That's a tall order to say that you can hold this Tide team down for that long. It's just, they're too good. They're way too good. We talked about what they bring to the table now and how they have so many skill position players, and now they finally have the best quarterback they've had down there in a decade.
Yeah.
Tough to beat. Everyone's playing for second place right now, in my opinion.
Not playing Alabama. Don't want to meet up at Alabama in the first round or the semifinal.
No, you get crushed. Whoever's the four is going to, even if it's a rematch with Georgia, I don't think that bodes well for the Dogs. Coming up, we'll get into some NFL news on the other side. Which teams are looking good? Which teams need some help as we come down the stretch here with the playoff seedings coming into focus. Also, the latest on Reuben Foster being picked up by the Redskins. Keep it locked right here. It's Behind the Mic, KABC Radio.
The wait
is finally over. Dell's biggest Cyber Week ever is on. Save big on Cyber Week deals, plus get free shipping on everything. With massive deals on Dell computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors, the hottest gaming gear, and top brand electronics like Google Smart Home, it's a sale you won't want to miss. Just call 800-BY-DELL or visit Dell.com/Cyberweek. Call 800-BY-DELL for more Cyber Week deals.
Hey there.
What's up, bruh?
Hello.
Aloha.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Hola.
Hi.
It takes a lot of voices to create the sound of us. The Y welcomes all of them with open arms. From career readiness to safe spaces, the Y is there, no matter who we are. Now, more than ever, they need your support. Support your local Y today. The Y, for a better us.
Read by members of the Y.
Hey, it's Opie. What's up? You may know me from my years in radio, talking to famous, funny people while locked away in a dark studio. Well, I'm finally free! I have a new place to talk, the Opie Radio Podcast. You'll get unfiltered conversations with unpredictable guests, and it doesn't hurt that it's hilarious. Just go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, ask your smart speaker, or go wherever you get your podcasts. It's easy, free, and on demand. The Opie Radio Podcast. Download it.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
You're listening to Behind the Mic with Brad Dalius.
Welcome back. 11:47. Great to have you with us. We're taking you up to the top of the hour. Brad and Keith on KABC Radio. Let's get into some NFL talk now. And Reuben Foster was claimed today off waivers by the Redskins. And every time I hear about him, Keith, unfortunately, is for the worst. Bad news, obviously, with his domestic violence cases in his life here recently, and how this continues to just play out. And the fact that he's still being picked up by teams is really amazing overall, that it's still going on. And I just wonder how many more chances is people actually going to give him? I mean, when it's just, it gets to a point where enough is enough.
To me, the NFL, man, they just do a horrible job at this type of thing. I guess the whole thing is innocent before proven guilty, right? And, and I get all that, but you know what? This guy right here, number one, I'm gonna say shame on the NFL, shame on Redskins to picking some guy up. Let's just go back to what he's done.
Yes,
suspension for weapons and weed. That's one thing he's done. On top of that, then he's had several off the field issues with player detrimental to the team, of issues that were going on. And then you had when you have a team like the 49ers and they come out and say that they released him because they cut him because of here goes one. 49ers cut Foster following the arrest, which Coach Mike Shanahan said, in quote, our number one rule is you got to protect the team, and he's put us in a bad light too much. When somebody says that should be a ding, 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 ding.
Light bulbs.
Why are you keeping him involved with this guy? And then the NFL, anything that comes up, I understand that you have to go through the proper procedures and things like that. But this man has been in numerous occasions, and when Ray Rice had his domestic dispute that went on, and we saw that on video, and that was vicious and mean, and I get it, and I think the NFL did the right thing by suspending him. Now, him not getting a job back since then, ever since then, he's never done anything after that, but, right then and there, that was brutal what happened. He never played again, right? this man right here continues to get chance after chances, and to me, this is where you draw the line. If to me, when a coach from another team cuts you, then he has some type of history of doing something.
Yeah.
I listened to the video of this, man. The girl, I don't know. She sound kind of calm, but they said the police report that said that she had lacerations on her neck and collar and face and things like that. And this guy seems like, I'm not saying he would never, I don't know what happened. I know the situation. They're still investigating things, but things kind of add up when you start seeing the personality of a player.
They do.
And you kind of see like, well, maybe he did do something like this. Or maybe, remember the Greg Hardy situation?
Of course. That's exactly what comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
Greg Hardy with Dallas. Same type of thing. Very similar.
Very similar. This is type of characteristics that he has. Why would you even bring something like that to your team knowing that he has those type of characteristics? Now, if he did really did this and it comes down to it and they do the investigation, they do a thorough investigation, which I'm sure they will, he should never be back in the NFL.
Of course not.
He should never play again. And that's the bottom. If Ray Rice can't play again, and that should be with all people, all guys out there, anybody who hits on a woman or beats on any kid or anything like domestic violence, they should be out of their employment in general. I don't care what it is. It should be a done deal, a wrap, because that is a coward. That's a man who's a coward and does not respect elders. And you know what? To me, like, you were born from a woman. A female gave birth to you. And how can you disrespect a woman like that? I don't get it. I could never get it in this situation right here. Man, I'm sorry. He should never be back in the NFL if this is what happened. If that's what happened. Now, if it didn't happen and that didn't go that way, I still wouldn't pick this man up.
Yeah.
Why? The characteristics, the things, you have a great team. You have a great Redskins are doing really well right now. They could possibly still make the playoffs. They just got one game they dropped right now. Why bring something like that? What you don't need is a linebacker. What you need is a quarterback. You know, your quarterback just went down.
Well, I think they're a franchise that's a little desperate, and sometimes they make desperate decisions.
You hit it on the nail. Desperate decisions.
We know Daniel Snyder. We know his track record.
Yes. Yeah. And they're desperate. But desperate, they've
had questionable guys over the years.
There's a difference between morals. Being desperate and having some type of morals. And this looks bad on their franchise. I'm sorry. This guy has this is just recent, man. These are not old issues. And he goes out and says, when he did the weed suspension for the weapons in the weed, I apologize to the team for my mistakes. Man, how many times have we heard that from many guys?
Too many.
And then you apologize, but then you go around and you have an alleged domestic violence dispute right now? Come on, man. When are we going to learn? When are we going to learn, people?
Speaking of Washington, so they currently are occupying the 6th spot in the NFC. And at this point, Keith, when I look at the NFC, we'll start there. Mm-hmm. Again, I think New Orleans right now, if they win out, obviously they have home field advantage. They have that 1 seed. I think it's a big problem for anyone else to go down there. And I think it's really just there's 3 teams right now that I'm looking at in the NFC. Saints, Rams, and the Bears. 1, 2, 3. For the Saints, for obvious reasons, like we just talked about, I think the Rams are still probably the most complete team in all 3 phases in the conference. And then I love the Bears' defense. We talked about recently, you mentioned how Khalil Mack should get MVP consideration.
Yeah.
He's totally changed that, not just the defense, but the franchise around, right?
Yeah.
So I really like the Bears and what they're able to do defensively and get after it. Out of that, obviously Washington is somewhat reeling from the loss of Alex Smith. We just talked about that a moment ago. Dallas is they've shown me grit recently, but I don't know. I still think whoever wins the NFC East is going to be the weakest playoff team in the conference. And Minnesota, I'm still not sure about. I feel good about them 1 week, the next week not so much.
I'm going to tell you, man, there's a dark horse team, though, that I'm watching very closely in the NFC, and that's the Seattle Seahawks.
They're rising.
They're rising. They're starting. Carroll's got those guys playing. They're playing pretty well right now. They're a team that can come and knock anyone off. And, yes, they'll probably be on the road, which is okay with me because when I look at their road record, they're still 4-3. They're still pretty decent on the road. And so, and they can compete with any of these teams. They competed with when you're competing against a team like the Rams, who are 10-1, and then they're going to run up against Kansas City Chiefs, who's another team that's pretty good.
Yeah, Seattle's got a chance to really make life difficult for a couple teams,
and
Chiefs included, and the Vikings in a couple weeks.
They have been battle tested, and a team like that is dangerous to me. So I'm looking at them to be the dark horse team. And I'll say this. I don't think any team wants to play them in the playoffs. You don't want to be a top seed team and run against Seattle. I know the Rams want to stay away from them.
Yeah, different team away from the Pacific Northwest. I'll say that. But
I think the only team that can really get
it's been a weird year for them.
Yes, but I think the only team that's really not sweating them, and I'm just saying this is my opinion, is in the NFC would be the Saints. Because I think the Saints are just they're more of a complete team than any team out there. They have they have great offense. They're still suspect on the defense, but they get stops.
They do get some stops. I think the Rams are capable. Obviously, they lost a couple weeks ago, but I think they have the capabilities to win in New Orleans. And the Bears' defense, although it's probably not good enough to fully slow down Drew Brees and company, they probably pose the best chance of any defense to do so. But that's about it.
And I'm going to say this. Until Jared Goff shows me what he can do in the playoffs, until Patrick Mahomes shows me what he can do in the playoffs, and until like the Deshaun Watsons of the world show me what they can do in the playoffs, Mitch Trubisky, what he does in the playoffs, I'm not really sweating him. Why? Because the Bradys of the world, who's won Super Bowls, the Russell Wilsons of the world who won Super Bowls, let's go down the list. Who else? Drew Brees, who's won a Super Bowl.
Yes.
When you start looking at these teams, Ben Roethlisberger, who's been in the playoffs many a time.
Yeah, let's look at the AFC here for a second.
Yeah.
And obviously with Pittsburgh's loss, huge swing for them.
Yes.
Because they drop from 2 to the 4 seed at the moment. Look, I mean, same song and dance for Pittsburgh every time of year.
Well, they hurt each other. You know what I'm saying? That for them, Brad, it's more of they hurt themselves. Pittsburgh beats themselves. And they just did it last week again on the 2-yard line against Denver Broncos, and they threw that pass. Experienced defense.
Yep.
And that's my whole point in all this. Experienced guys that got playoff experience, and been in the NFL for a long time, those guys are going to get it done, and you got to be careful with them. And so, yes, Pittsburgh, they do it to themselves every single time.
They do.
I love to see what Lamar Jackson's doing right now. He's playing really well.
Apparently, he will start again this week.
And I think he's going to be starting from here on out.
It looks that way.
And they got a possibility of getting into playoffs as well.
I'm not convinced that Kansas City will win out. I am not convinced of that at the moment. I just not. I think they got some tough games. And, again, if the Chargers are ever going to give the Chiefs a run for their money, it's going to be this game in a couple weeks.
Well, it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough.
Without a Melvin Gordon.
It's somewhat day-to-day. We'll have to see and monitor it. And then at Seattle, and Baltimore, they start to play Baltimore. I get it's in Kansas City, but that's tough. At Seattle, I still think that the Chiefs will probably get tripped up one more time. So we'll see. And obviously that opens the door for a whole bunch of other teams to do some things. Very wide open right now in the AFC.
Yes, sir.
That'll do it for tonight. We're back at it tomorrow, same place, same time. For Keith, I'm Brad. Keep living the dream.
Behind the Mic, furnished by Dalius Media.
KABC, Los Angeles, Orange County, a Cumulus station.
Election results, he won't
The
run.
following is
I'm
based
Elliot
on-
Francis. Republican Cindy Hyde-Smith has defeated Democrat Mike Espy in Mississippi's Senate runoff election. Sarah Crawford reports.
is a huge sigh of relief for the GOP after the race was engulfed in a controversy after a video surfaced where Highsmith joked about attending a public hanging if invited by a supporter. That remark recalled the state's history of racism and violence against blacks, including lynchings.
I'm going to always represent every Mississippian. I will work very hard, do my very best to make Mississippi very proud of your U.S. Senator.
Espy, who was fighting to become Mississippi's first black senator since the Reconstruction era, said despite the loss, he ran a historic campaign.
This movement is not going to end for a new Mississippi, a more united Mississippi.
I'm Sierra Crawford.
President Trump is blaming the Fed for General Motors' decision to lay off thousands of workers and close 5 assembly plants, and for recent steep declines in the stock market. The president told the Washington Post that he is not even a little bit happy, quote, with his handpicked central bank chairman. Well, he's considered a potential front-runner in a crowded field of Democrats who might run against President Trump in 2020, but New York's governor has ruled out a run.
Andrew Cuomo positions himself as the governor leading the fight against the policies of the Trump administration. Naturally, he's been talked about often as a front-runner in a Democratic primary, but New York's governor told WNYC's Brian Lair that he's ruled out a run.
I ran for governor. I have a full plate.
He said just being anti-Trump isn't enough to win in 2020.
The Democratic Party lost the working men and women of this country who went with Trump because of the void left by the Democratic Party.
Cuomo said his party needs a candidate who has a proven record with policies that could win those people back. Steve Kastenbaum, New York.
The creator of SpongeBob SquarePants has died. 57-year-old Stephen Hillenburg suffered from Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm Elliot Francis.